we have a spin the wheel,
Mm-hmm.
random decision generator,
Okay.
and we put 13 or 14 questions in here. We don't know when I hit spin, we don't know where the question is going to be. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
just going to hit spin and we're just going to get a question and then that's going to be the topic. Maybe I don't know if we'll be able to go through the 13, all of them,
Mm-hmm.
but whatever, we'll see how many will go.
Okay.
Um, should we limit each question answer?
Like a timer?
I don't know how to do that, but that'll be
I can get my
interesting.
phone. You want
Um,
me?
no, that's fine. Well,
Okay.
I can look at the, I don't know. No, I got that inspired from, I see uh, the conferences of like when philosophers come together, like a panel, and
Uh-huh.
they just give each one's like, okay, you have 7 minutes or
Uh-huh.
da-da-da, you know what I mean? Because they know, like, it's like, oh, how you doing? And then
Mm-hmm.
40 minutes later, okay, so we'll start with that. Maybe you time it, maybe we time it, maybe not. We'll see.
Okay.
So there's 13 questions, and I'm gonna hit spin. Okay. The first question is, when did protecting your peace start becoming a way of avoiding truth and discomfort?
Wow. That's the question?
That's a question. When did protecting your peace start becoming a way of avoiding truth and discomfort?
Uh, Shit, I don't even know how to answer that question because for me, I feel like I'm the opposite. Like if I'm protecting my peace, then it's usually taking me in the direction of like acknowledging discomfort and bringing up topics that might not seem comfortable for the other person.
Hmm.
Um, so that's not the case for me as far as I can tell. If anything, I might need to pull back a little bit on like bringing up the uncomfortable
Hmm.
people
Yeah,
for myself. Um,
but that's a good point, right? Because here, the way that most people, let's say general, quote unquote, general public, most of us,
mhm.
right? When we understand the word peace in a particular context,
Uh-huh.
what does peace mean, right? Because I think this question is pointing towards when we say protecting your peace, what does that
Mm,
mean? Does that mean I have no worries? Does that mean I have no stress?
mm,
Does that mean um, I'm growing? What does that
mm.
mean? What does protecting one's peace mean,
Right.
right? And I think it's pointing towards when if I see peace being comfortable,
Mhm.
right? Then then it starts to becoming avoiding truth and discomfort.
If you see peace as comfort, then the peace is
Yeah,
avoiding.
then that becomes avoidance. If my idea of peace or protecting the peace, because now I'm just protecting that comfort, I'm just
Mhm.
protecting that um, no stress. I'm protecting
Mhm.
that becomes the orientation of which my thoughts, actions, and whatever everything is
Mhm.
aligning to.
Mhm.
Then anything that's not quote unquote my idea of peace,
Mhm.
then it then I'm gonna start to avoid it. I'm gonna start to do whatever it takes to just
Yeah.
go after that,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? So the idea of peace,
How do you define avoid?
like not dealing with it, like it's there but
Like
not dealing with it.
to your detriment or avoid meaning sort of evade or navigate and is not to your detriment? I guess
No,
I
to the
asked
first.
that. So, okay. So if their avoidance is to their detriment, then I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
avoidance,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
which I think this is what you're saying. peace, but the idea of peace to you
Yeah.
is what?
Mm.
What is the idea of protecting your peace mean?
Protecting my peace. I see is the way we phrase questions in language is such a personal, subjective, self-referral kind of thing. Because when I think of peace, I don't think in terms of like even when I'm like having hard conversations or confronting something in myself, I don't look at it as I'm protecting my peace. I think that when I see peace, it's like an internal thing that doesn't necessarily all have to do with what's happening outside of me.
Right?
Um, Now there is correlation, of course, but ultimately I'm trying to like find an inner coherence and peace within myself, kind of like how they say in the Christian Bible, a peace that passes all understanding,
Right.
where I can be in environments and situations where, it might not look like I should be peaceful, but there's still an inner peace for me. Um, and in that way, I'm not needing to protect it. I'm just needing to like do things for myself that will continually allow that peace to be self-generating. And then I expect for my outer world, if it doesn't already, to begin to reflect that.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever I have to do in the reality to have a self-generating loop of that peace,
Mm-hmm.
then that's what I'm willing to do. Will I call that protecting it? I don't know. I think it's more that like every day there needs to be an internal inventory to say, am I doing what I need to do to keep myself coherent and leaning back in on seeing whether or not I'm doing the things that allow the external part of my life to reflect the internal part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so if this internal part of my life is more peaceful and I'm doing the things that it needs to cultivate that thing, then I think the outside should reflect that in some way. Or at least I'm finding that's the case
Mm-hmm.
in my own life. I don't know, but that's for me. I don't know that that's like a law of nature for everybody. It's something that I'm experimenting with.
Yeah. But that is in a way protecting your peace.
Yeah, yeah.
That is in a way because what protecting your peace is, it's like you're you're doing things, right? Or your main th your it's part of your value system,
Hmm.
right? So you put it as part of your value system, and depending where it is in the
Yeah.
thing, right? But meaning like everything you're, or hopefully the way that one is moving towards that
Hmm.
piece or that value is actually happening, manifesting,
Yeah.
it's becoming as
Yeah.
an action, right? The the way when it starts to become, because here the question is when does that start to become a way of avoiding truth and discomfort,
Yeah.
right? It's when the idea of protecting the peace starts to become static, right? And
Hmm.
then it needs to look this way,
Yeah.
and it needs to be this way,
Yeah.
right? Then then anything that changes that, and then I'm now starting to avoid reality as it
Yeah.
is in order to make it what I want it to make. Like I'm starting to avoid reality in contact,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, the idea of protecting, to your point, it's semantics,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
the way of living is the same.
Yeah. Yeah. I think someone's, yeah, the way you orient yourself to this question, because the way anyone would, you have to look at it, I mean, everyone through your own lens, because it's suggesting that, I think the question is suggesting that protecting your peace can lead to avoidance.
Yes.
And I don't know that that's true. I think that like if protecting your peace has led to avoidance, then it was a lie that you were protecting your peace. I don't know if that might be too strong. It's a it would be, I should say for me, if me
Right.
protecting my peace has led to avoidance, then somewhere in the beginning of convincing myself I was doing something to protect my peace, there was some kind of internal lie that I would have told myself, almost as if my immature ego or something had to take over, and I'm seeing from a more restricted, contracted lens rather than a more expanded lens of what peace is to me.
Right. Because because peace means different things to different people,
Facts.
right?
Facts.
So, somebody can say, I'm protecting my peace, I'm keeping my job, I want my apartment,
Yeah.
that's protecting my peace.
Yeah.
So they do whatever it is that they need to do in order to afford this, the
Yeah.
car, the house, the job. I want no drama,
Yeah.
right? But wanting no drama, now you're closing yourself off from actual relationships,
Yeah.
right? So now it starts to becoming avoidance.
Yeah.
So so that's what I'm saying. Like it can turn into avoidance
Yeah.
depending on what you define peace
As
as.
there's this idea in Maharshi Vedic science that you know of very well at this point about because I always bringing it up, the five fundamentals of progress
Mm-hmm.
and the five fundamentals of culture,
Mm-hmm.
stability, adaptability, purification, integration, and growth.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea is that maintaining the ability to allow those five things to operate
Mm-hmm.
um, gives the human being a level of peace, a level to be able to be stable,
Mm-hmm.
but also adaptable, to be able to purify out what no longer serves you, but also integrate things that are useful. These things together create growth. And so I feel like there may be a place where I need to kind of like push some things away in order to create stability for myself. But I think it's not like a hard and fast thing. I think you have to oscillate through different levels of those five
Mm-hmm.
characteristics
Mm-hmm.
in order to, in almost in a spontaneous way, where it's sort of natural to you in order to find out truthfully what your piece is beyond the narrative that my mind wants to
Yes.
project on it.
Yeah.
Because what your piece is might be different for everybody, but people have a physiology that's operating in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And so if cortisol levels are going up and going crazy and stuff like that, and you're about to go into cardiac arrest, then that might not be protecting your peace. You might
Mm-hmm.
not be in an environment or have done things up until that point that protects your peace. But if protecting your peace in the way that I'm sort of describing it is your way of life beforehand, when you get to those moments where it looks like you have to protect your peace, I feel like something else should have already been built up for me that allows me to pivot or navigate in a way that is not avoidance,
Mm-hmm.
but true adaptability.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
adaptability as opposed to avoidance.
Yeah.
And that adaptability could mean like, all right, I'm removing myself from this situation, or it could mean I'm
Gonna face it head on. Yeah.
head exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree. And I think the main thing in this question, it's the deeper question within it is, do I know? Do I know what peace is
Yeah.
for me? Do I know what I mean when I say that? Do I know where I'm actually going?
Yeah.
What orientation am I walking towards,
Yeah.
right? And most of the time, we live our lives without questioning these things.
Yeah.
So they become habits and patterns, and then they
Yeah.
start to become a way of avoiding truth and discomfort.
Facts.
So I think the deeper question within this question is, do I know
Yeah.
what peace is for myself?
Yeah.
And can I go deeper and deeper, not just be satisfied with the surface level answer to these things, but can
Yeah.
I go deeper,
Facts.
whether it's within the physiology or whether within, um, the depth of my psychology or whether it's within the depth of my emotional state
Facts.
or whatever, all of these things, right? Um, so yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's a, sitting and question, really taking a moment in time to
Hmm.
pause and think about what does that mean to me? What does peace mean to me?
Yeah.
And how do I act? How does that show up in my life? How does protecting that peace that I don't
Ex-
even know what it is start
exactly.
showing up in my life? Um,
And then that same question for avoidance, do we know what that is? Can you recognize it when it's happening?
mhm,
You know? And have I, am I calling protecting my peace? I don't know how to say it. Is what I'm calling protecting my peace really masquerading my addiction to drama?
mhm,
Because sometimes there is this opportunity or this possibility where things could get flipped, like, oh, I'm protecting my peace, but yet there's still some underlying neurological pathway, ways of being that you're addicted to the same chemical cocktail that has you going in the direction of drama and
mhm,
intensity. But
mhm,
yet you'll use language like, oh, I'm protecting my peace.
mhm.
But are you, or are you just isolating? Or like,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
how does one really measure what they mean when they're saying a certain thing?
Mhm,
Like, do you look at the historical record of your life? Is it about what your mirror reflections, your friends, people, family, environment is saying to you or
mhm,
reflecting back at you? Like,
mhm.
how does one really know what it means for peace or avoidance?
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
what are those tools
Yeah.
to really do a self-assessment?
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess
That's a whole other
that's a
question,
whole nother, yeah.
but we'll get into that.